tutorial, I will actually demonstrate how to use JSF in conjunction with JSP to create simple user interface. Actually, this is not a separate tutorial and I'm not creating it as a tutorial, but I wrote some tips on how to create a JSF application on my website, computer.justetc.net. So this video will provide an example for that. I think if you want to take a look at the article, so go to computer.justetc.net and search for JSF specifications. Type exactly as it is. Okay, this is the article. So to get an idea what JSF is, if you just read this article, it will give you some initial basic idea and from where you can actually start, and at the end I mentioned some topics that you need to know. Just if you just follow this example and afterwards if you try to learn these topics, I think this is pretty much good enough for the beginning to intermediate development in JSF. So let's take a look at the example. I just created a sample example. So this is the example. I see the directory structure. Okay, let me explain what the application is. Actually, in this application, we'll collect some user information just for an application like bus search, public bus search or something like that, or long distance bus schedule searching. So we'll just collect some input from the user and afterwards we will print those user provided input as output. Better we can first take a look at the example. In that case it will make more sense what we are going to do. Okay, so I am providing localhost test index.faces. It actually also uses the tomcat web server. In the backend, notice that I have provided index.faces, not index.html or index.jsp. Still, originally the file can be index.html or index.jsp or index.htm. Still, I am using .faces. Actually, this is the kind of convention, and we mention what extension should be used in some configuration file. I think I will show you later. So for the time being, so this is the initial form that is collecting user input from the collecting user input, and this is actually a JSF interface using, and this page was created using JSF. In the backend, it will be actually search form.jsp file. From the front end, we are referring it to search form.faces, and in the search form.jsp page, it will actually use some JSF provided tags and features. So we'll take a look at that later. So whatever input we give here, let Winnipeg, Toronto, 12, and let 15, returning 20, 12. Maybe the information may not be in the right in terms of real life, but click on search and it is just displaying all the information we provided. And we also see that search results .faces, so there will be a search results .jsp as we are working with JSP, and I think we'll also make use of the JSF features in search results.jsp. So here in the configuration file, there will also be some mapping when we click on the submit button or search button on this action, where it will go, we also need to configure in the configuration files. So now we can take a look at the source files. Just take a look here. This is the test main application. This is the index.jsp that is initially loaded, and this is the search form.jsp that displays the form, and this is the search results.jsp. When you click the submit button, search button, this page is executed and it displays the user provided input as the output. So here actually in WebINF, in classes, we have a classes net just etc JSF. This is the bus search.java. So this is just the format. We see the package name, and this is the class, and we have some variables to keep track of all of them information, and we also see there are all the getters and setters. You can write it down, and if you use Eclipse development environment, I think if you just declare these variables, and after right clicking you can select options to create the getters and setter method automatically, or if you use normal text editor, you have to write it down. So from this class file, Java file, after compiling we can create this class file. Actually this is being used as a bean in the JSF application. It just maintains the states. We have to load this bean into the JSP application, and it maintains the states. We can set the values to the variables, and we can also retrieve values from these variables. Actually in the initial form, when it is collecting user inputs, it is we are setting the user provided values into this bean, and in the search result we are actually collecting the value from this bean and displaying it. And actually also in the configuration file we need to say that this is one kind of managed bean that we will be making use in our application, and we have to provide the specify the path of this class or Java file. Actually it is the class, we don't need the Java file. This is the main thing. It should be in the deployment. We don't need to have it in the deployment. Okay. First check the index.jsp. I'm opening it using TextPad. Okay, if we check the article, maybe you can parallelly check the article also. Okay, here we are just redirecting it to search form.faces. Okay, before that maybe we can be sure of the structure. Just come here, we see under WebINF, this is faces.config.xml. Whenever we refer to something like search form.faces, it will actually come here and it will sort these faces to corresponding JSP file. So it will actually ultimately go to this search form.jsp. You can open it here. So here we are just mentioning the tag library provided by the JSF. One is the JSF core tags and another is the JSF HTML. If we come here, we see, if we see the article, here we see that JSF core custom actions, and JSF. These are the different JSF tags that are used for different purposes. So just take a look at this section. You will see what are the different. There are some input. This is actually HTML custom actions. These are for input, these are for output, and these are for selection related tags. These are miscellaneous tags, and these are the core tags that we are using here. Core, and this HTML, this is actually this HTML. So these are from here. So here we see that actually core view, this is telling that this is for the viewing purpose in the web pages, and you see that this is form. As the prefix is h, we are using h here. So this is the form declaration, and from here we are collecting inputs. We are telling that these are for collecting input from the user. And we can also see here that input text area, and these are corresponding just like HTML related. The name resembles, and you see we are telling that this bus.departDate, as it is input, it will collect input and it will set it into the bus.departDate. And this bus, actually this is actually one kind of managed bean. It is described in the configuration file. I will show you just a bit after. And this is telling this is a action button, and this is the submit or search button. And after clicking, where it will go, it is also defined in the configuration file. So come here, so here we are telling, we are mentioning some navigation rules, and we are telling when it will be coming from search form.jsp. In submit event, it will go to search results.jsp. This is just mentioned here. And here actually we are mentioning bus as a managed bean, and it is actually representing this class, and we can refer it in the JSF files hbus. And we also need this web.xml. This is actually for Tomcat. When you use Tomcat, we need this deployment descriptor, and we are telling that the welcome file, it will be index.html. That's just the initial file, root file. And we are also telling that we will be using star.faces as the extension of the files. And here we are telling when we will mention this class will take care of this. This is just the JSF core class that will handle all the manipulation and the going to the faces config.xml and redirecting into the right places. So what else I can show? I can also, I think we can see the search results.jsp. So this is the output from the configuration. We know that after submitting, the control will come here. Here actually we are using the output text, output controls from the JSF provided output components, and we are taking the values from bus.departed first.origin from the corresponding bean. So that's about it. And actually what we have to do for this purpose, we can just compile the class file. That in our case the class is bussearch.java. So I'm just going to the right path, and for my case Java is in the path, Java C path is in the path. So if we just press it here, it just compiles, and after compilation, what you can do, just copy this folder and deploy it under the Tomcat 6.0 web apps, paste. And after pasting, you may need to, actually you should restart the Apache Tomcat. Actually you need to use Tomcat 6.0, otherwise you can get some error, especially Tomcat 5.0 may not recognize this class, so it's better to use Tomcat 6.0. Or if you use Java provided application server, you will not require much. You will not require this. I think it will be compatible with that. So if you just restart after placing in web apps, so it should work fine. And as I demonstrated in the first place, just follow the same thing. So it is displaying. And what else? You can actually load this, create this application in Eclipse also. I think the first thing is you need to create this directory structure first, and then write your JSP pages and set the stubs in the configuration files. And one thing is, when you use Tomcat for this purpose, you will also need the JSF related jar files. And you can, if you use Java provided application servers, then you don't need to worry about it. But if you use Tomcat, then you need to collect the JSF provided JSF related jar files, and you can copy them into your applications lib folder. We see that under webinf there is lib folder, and I put everything here. Actually JSF related APIs are these. JSF API.jar, JSF impl.jar, and UI.jar. And also these are required: common bin utils, common collections, common logging, common digester. And also you need the JSTL, start JSTL jar files. We see JSTL.jar and the standard.jar. These are the jar files. I just copied into the applications webinf live folder, or you can also copy them into the web server lib folder. Just here you can also copy them here. So JSF will be supported in Tomcat. And if you check the article, actually I have mentioned here where you can get these JSF related jar files. Okay, I think how to install, you see from this page you can download the jar files for the JSF, and this is for the tag library JSTL. Actually I have mentioned here Tomcat 5.5, and actually Tomcat 6.0 is better for this purpose. Okay, sorry, JSTL jars is from here. And one thing is, actually in this page they have mentioned that if you use Java Enterprise Edition 5, then you don't need to worry about the jar files, they will come automatically. Just check this section. You can get JSF support in 3 ways. You can just directly use the Java Enterprise Edition 5 SDK. It will be already there. Actually in my case I used J2SC6 and Tomcat, so I had to download all these jar files. I think that's about it. Okay, good luck.